Welcome to the Planet Pearl video tutorial for corrugated rib, American style. Our supplies, 2 colors of yarn, and straight needles. So to start off, I've done a little 2-color cast on, which we have a video for that, but it's a good start for a Fair Isle project. Gets both your yarns in the right place at the same time. So for this version of corrugated rib, we are going to put both yarns in the right hand. So I'm going to do my knit stitches in the red. Now for my rib, I'm going to do my purl stitches in the yellow. So I'm going to pick that yarn up from underneath, move it to the front, and I'm going to purl 2. Now normally we'd be working with butterflies if we're working with both yarns in the same hand, because right now we're working with balls, it's going to make a mess. So, but we'll pull that to the back, and then we're going to pick the red up from underneath, like we do in standard Fair Isle knitting, and knit 2 with the red. Now really the difference between the corrugated rib and regular Fair Isle, and pick up again, is going to be that we are purling the stitches in between. Now, so we're going to purl in yellow, we're going to continue purling 2 in yellow and knitting 2 in red. Now the thing to remember about corrugated rib is although it has the look of ribbing, it is not very elastic. It will keep the edge of your garment flat, but it doesn't really give much stretch. So that has to be taken into account if you're working in that in corrugated rib. So you can see how the floats are carrying along all the floats on the wrong side, which is why we're moving that yarn in between the needles and making sure all the floats are on the wrong side. And then of course we have our little 2 yarn slip knot, which we just slipped off the needle like we would in any project with a 2-color cast on. So you can see now how we have our first row, which were the loops from the cast on, our first row of the actual ribbing, and now we're going to work back in the corrugated rib. So first we get our tails out of the way so we don't accidentally knit with them. And so for the first 2 stitches, since we're going to continue to work as a regular rib back and forth, so we're going to knit these stitches because we want the purl side to show on the other side. So we'll knit those 2 stitches, and then we'll bring the yarn back between the needles, right, because we're on the wrong side, the purl side, so all the yarn will be carried on the back. And then we're going to pick up underneath with the red, and we're going to purl these 2 stitches because we want the knit side to show on the right side. And again, we are working on the wrong side. So we're going to just leave that yarn where it is because we're carrying all the yarns on the wrong side. And then I'm going to take the yellow yarn, put it back between the needles, and I'm going to knit the yellow because we want the purl to show on the other side. And of course we're carrying the yarn on the wrong side, so we're going to pull the yarn back between and keep all the floats on the wrong side of the knitting. So these stitches will get purled, so I don't need to move the yarn back between the needles. And then for the yellow, I make sure that my stitches, so that my floats don't get tight, I make sure my stitches are nice and loose across the needle. I move the yarn and I'm going to knit 2 stitches and then bring the yarn back between the needles. It's time to purl the 2 red ones and spread my stitches out. Make sure I'm not getting tight floats. One of the few things in knitting that can't be fixed, except for ripping out. And here we are. So you can see we're starting, once I get all my ends out of the way here, you can see that we're getting this 2-color rib It's really lovely. Good way to start a sweater in Fair Isle. And you can see the stitches are nice and loosely connected. So here we are. I've done about 12 rows, I think, here. So I wanted to show you what it looks like. So you can see on the back here how the floats go all across the back side of the knitting, both the red and yellow floats, and how the front side has no floats. That's why we move the yarn back and forth, and it gives you a nice edge. And Chelsea is wagging her tail. She's so excited to get started on her project. So come visit us soon.